What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 12th day of July today, and we are sitting at a very nice price of 117.5K here on the 12th. Brand new day, 23 hours, 33 minutes left in the day. We're 30 minutes into the new day here. Closing yesterday at the highest closing prices we've ever seen, achieving an all-time high of $118.8 thousand, the likes of which we've never seen before. But it will not, do not get attached. That will not reign as the all-time high for long, my friends. We've got a lot more growth to go, and in a little amount of time to do it. It's not that we have a little bit of time to do it. It's just that I would think that we do grow in a very little amount of time. We have all the time in the world to grow. I don't want to make it sound like we have just this window to grow, but we probably will grow rapidly between now and the end of August. So we'll go over that real quick in just a second. Looking at the price here, 117.5K, it's nice, but I have to say it doesn't feel like it's enough. It doesn't feel like it's enough. And I made a post here on X. If we're looking at my profile here, I made a post. I'll just read it real quick, right? I'm absolutely baffled that Bitcoin just broke out to new all-time highs, and yet more shorts have been piled on in the last 24 hours than longs. And that's true. Barely, but yes. What the hell is the logic here, right? The thought, and I'll just kind of go over it, right? I'm not going to read that word for word anymore, but the thought here is, oh, Bitcoin, yeah, this thing that was consolidating in this range, it's been range bound, it's been here between like 110K and 75K since November of 2024. Now we're breaking out. We're 2 days, 3 days into this breakout, and now it's done. Now it's over, right? That's the logic here. That's how are there so many shorts, you guys? We're on the 1 day time frame. You see here, all the way over here to the right, $3.4 billion at 130K. All the way over here, 3.3. Very similar, tit for tat, but more shorts than longs piled on here in the last 24 hours. While we're freshly at new all-time highs. You guys, if we were at new all-time highs and we've been running for 6 weeks, okay, I get it. I get it. Maybe there's a reason for there to be shorts, but even then, shorts kind of fuel the fire. They fuel the bullish fire. They really stoke the flames. And looking here at 117.5K, I don't think we're done. I absolutely don't think we're done. We'll get into all those reasons in a second here. From a high to a low, relatively speaking, looking at this here, we're at the 1414. And the 1414, typically, let's say we do find resistance here. If we do, maybe we go down to the 786, 886 area, something between 108K to 112K, but I doubt it. I doubt that we do. I mean, maybe 112K would be the lowest that I could see, but I doubt that we go below these highs, this prior all-time high. But really, Bitcoin doesn't stop at its 1414 too often. Oftentimes it goes to the 1618 or higher. And earlier today, or I guess yesterday on the 11th, I made a video talking about how throughout this whole cycle, we've actually not settled for anything lesser than the 1886, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just see. Let's look at this here. So our first run up right here, right? I mean, even on this little run, let's see, from a high to a low, look at this. Relative high to low. You went all the way up to your 1886, 200 level. You see the purple lines, right? 1886, that's where you stopped. That's where you went. We take this consolidation phase, high to a low here. You went all the way up to 2618. You take the high to the low here, and I'm pretty sure this one was also a 2618. 2618. I have a purpose. Stick with it, right? If you've seen this already, it's good to refresh your mind sometimes. And we're going to get to the good stuff here in a second. But high to low, 1886. Okay? We're just now breaking out of this overall range, right? We're seeing the extensions of this move here. Are we going to stop anywhere? Like, we're not even at a relative stopping point here, let alone this relative range, right? Even on the smaller ranges, which we measured a couple of them, we went at least to the 1886, if not the 200 level, okay? The 2618 level. The 1886, just for references, is all the way up at $125,000, my friends, okay? We take away the small fib, we look at the predominant fib that we had from January 20th high to April 7th low here. The first extension, the first primary target doesn't even hit us until we're at 121.7K. We're at 117.5 now, right? We've got more growth to go. It doesn't stop here. And the shorts that are on, I don't know why the data won't load, but the shorts that we have are only going to fuel that fire, okay? Shorts, whenever they liquidate, they are forced to buy back Bitcoin. So imagine you're moving up here with whatever buying pressure you have. The shorts get liquidated. They have to hit the open market in the form of a buy order. They're pumping up the price as they're closing. That's how short squeezes work. That's why whether they're covering or whether they're getting liquidated, it doesn't matter. They have to buy back. So these positions are vulnerable if the price continues to grow. And I gotta say, we're in a very odd area to stop. It doesn't make a lot of sense to stop here, not in my opinion. All right, looking at this here, and yes, I'm aware. Look at the volume. We're on USDT Binance. Look at the volume. It's all gone. But guys, look at the cycle we're in, right? Look at Bitstamp. Here, watch this, okay? Just watch this. Where are you at, Bitstamp? It's like one of the longest open exchanges in crypto's history, okay? We're going to go all the way back. We're going to go like way back. Here, let's see. Okay. All the way back to 2011. Notice how much volume there was back here, okay? Right? Notice how much volume there was. Notice how little volume there was. There was lesser volume, yet we still grew this cycle. What happened this cycle? Well, in this cycle, we had Coinbase come online. And there, they had a lot of volume. They took all the volume, right? Coinbase did. And Binance as well. All I'm trying to say is if you're focused on the volume and you think that this lack in volume on Binance, on the Binance chart, means that we are seeing a fake move, I would disagree and say that we haven't seen a whole lot of volume at all this whole cycle, which means it's somewhere else. The institutions. There are other players. There's Robinhood, Webull, eToro, Fidelity, BlackRock. I don't know. There's all kinds of different institutions that are buying this OTC, or at least they're doing it on non-crypto traditional stock or exchanges, right? We're seeing it on other exchanges. So the volume not being high, I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. I had someone ask about that, and I'm like, it's really not a big deal. I wouldn't worry about it. The volume is still good. Like for Bitcoin, if we're looking at coin market cap, it's still good. But the volume here, it's irrelevant. I wouldn't say. I mean, it hasn't been relevant at all this whole cycle. Was it relevant here? No, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to continue to grow. Looking at the weekly time frame here, we are just getting into the overbought zone. Okay, 2 days left in this week. 2 days, 23 hours, or 1 day, 23 hours, something like that, right? Very little time left in this week. If we can close here or above, I think 113K, 113K is the goal. If we can close above 113K, we effectively do solidify that the RSI is in the overbought zone. And we've been in the overbought zone once, twice, 3 times, 4 times this cycle. 5th time here, we rejected it. That last time we rejected it was the only time we've rejected it, I think, in like Bitcoin's history. Maybe we've done that one other time. Like literally, and we don't have it here on the Binance chart, but we might have done this one other time where we got in and out, maybe like right here, right? And it did not merit much growth afterwards, okay? But every other time this cycle that we've gotten into the overbought zone, it's promoted from that point 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, we had our high. From that point that we were overbought, 6-7 weeks later, we had our high. From that point that we got overbought here, 6 weeks later, we got high. We got our high. Same thing here, right? We've just gotten overbought this week, and yes, we're counting our chickens before they hatch, being that we have 2 days left in this week here. But I feel pretty damn confident in saying that 6 weeks from now, the week of August 18th, if not further, will be when we see our next high. So again, who the hell is shorting here? Why? Why are you doing it? I mean, good job. You're fueling the fire. You're stoking the flames to bullishness here, but it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. You don't want to go long? Okay, fine. That's fine. But man, you have no business. When Bitcoin's in blue sky territory, if it hasn't been at least a month of doing this, you have no business shorting. You have absolutely no, and who am I? Not a financial advisor, not financial advice, but the daily RSI just got overbought itself. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw deeper readings. You know, historically speaking, looking at Bitcoin here, whenever we're in these prime kind of breakout moments, you actually don't stop here or lower. You actually go to higher points in the RSI, right? That's whenever we're making these strides higher, when we're in these like kind of peak phases of these moves, right? Consolidating, breaking out. Yes, you can get overbought and see like lesser readings, but that's in these like consolidation phases. When you're actually breaking out and making strides higher, you always get above this 81 level in the RSI. Here we're consolidating. Okay, well, we weren't making too much strides higher. We're actually breaking out here, and we're about to see some momentum kick in. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw a very fantastic reading that was all the way up at like the 90s, right? That's probably where we're going to go. And then you can go short for like a day, maybe. I'm not saying that it'll just move up there nonstop, and we're moving down a little bit right now. There might be some implied volatility, but the amount of downside that we see is going to be insignificant. Understand, guys, this kind of price action is gone. It's up only. It's up only. Like, what, we're going to drop 1%? That's it? I still do accept that we could drop down to 113K, maybe even 111K, something around that area. I do accept it as a possibility. But what, there? You're worried about that? You should really be worried about the upside, because where we're going, it's so much higher. We're going to 170 to 190K, guys. That's where we're going. I know a lot of people are calling for 150K, 130K. They're keeping it safe. We've been expecting 180K for a very long time, and yes, that date has been pushed back month after month. The market has been moving slower than anticipated, that's for damn sure, but 180K has never changed as the target. That has been the target for a very long time. If anything, it's only gone up. We had 170K picked out, now it's 180. It might even be higher than that, if anything, right? The longer you consolidate, the more bullish it is. And with the fibs here, from a high to a low, when you move up and you consolidate like this between the 886, 786 like this, you guys, it's so freaking bullish. You're unstoppable. You're literally going to move all the way up, I believe, again, running with what we said in the beginning of this video, you're going to run all the way up above, probably to your 1886, 200 level, if not higher, all the way up to your 2618. I actually think we'll stop in the middle there at the 2272, right there around 180K. But something between, I wouldn't say 150K, I wouldn't say 200K, something probably in the middle, and I like that 180K level. The 2272, this little manila colored line right here, oftentimes you go just above there, 179K, it would make sense that you go just above there. We take last cycle's high, the bull market high here, okay? And actually, let's just do this real quick. Let's do this real quick, okay? Yeah. We'll just validate what I'm saying, right? It might not validate, but it'll bring more validation to it. Let's put it like that, okay? If it would load. It's just got to load. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. So we're going to go all the way back. All the way back to our first bull market, okay? First bull market here, high to low. Notice how we stopped at the golden ratio midway through. We wicked above it, consolidated a bit, and then we continued to go. We went all the way up to our 2272, all the way up to the 2272, just above it, like I was saying, right? We also wicked above the golden ratio there. Bitcoin actually really likes to wick right above its golden ratio too. High to low, bull cycle high in 2013 to the bear market low in 2015. You went all the way up to your golden ratio. You found some turbulence here, and again, you wicked just above it, and then you came down and found support at your 1414. Continue to run to your 2272, just above it, yet again, right? That was your 2018 high, or 2017 high. We take that high now, and we go to the low. This was the first cycle and the only cycle that we've ever seen Bitcoin stop at the 1618, right? It didn't go higher. But if you notice, the 1618, yet again, you wicked above it both times. Both times. I think this double top wasn't supposed to happen. I think we were supposed to run, but we had COVID, we had the dollar inflating, we had quantitative tightening, all these different things going on that just held Bitcoin back. But nonetheless, we wicked above the 1618 both times, right? So, and every time, every single cycle. So here we are. From last cycle's high to the bear market low, where's the 1618? It just happens to line up exactly with this 2272. Right there at about $180,000. And I say 180K not because that's what these numbers are. These are just below 180K, but with the 2272, with the 1618, typically you do go just above there. So 180K, 190K, 200K, whatever. Something in that area. And that will likely be the next stopping point. When will it be? Right? Every single time on a weekly basis that we've gotten overbought, we measured this earlier, it's about 6 to 7 weeks after you get overbought, right? Or including the week that you get overbought, 5 to 6 weeks after, I suppose. So that would put us in the week of the 18th of August, 18th to like the 24th. And if not there, then later, but sometime in that last half of August. That's my guess. Probably after the 20th, if I really had to guess. That's when we will top off. And where will we pull back? Your guess is as good as mine. But if anything, I would think either back to about 140K, maybe 130K, somewhere around there for support, right? We're going to move up like this going into August. Hold on, let me not like that. We're not going to go back in time. We're going to go up like this. Nope, it's a little bit too slow. August is over here. All right, so all the way, we're going to go up like this. We're going to come down like this going into the end of August, going into September. And then October, for Bitcoin's birthday, we're going to rally, finishing up the year probably above $200,000 by the end of this year. Bitcoin will, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? Bitcoin will close above $200,000 by the end of this year. Now, is it going to be in October? Is it going to be in December? I don't know, but I'm very positive that we will see a $200,000+ Bitcoin by the end of this year. Maybe even more than that. I think this cycle will continue into 2026. Q2, Q1, somewhere in that time frame, and I really do believe that we will hit the 2272, the land of the promised, as we have 2 out of the 3 cycles before, and we will probably wick just above there. What's just above 462K, a nice psychological number that we might find resistance at? $500,000. That is the goal. That's the target. If you've been watching this channel since I had 100 subscribers way back here in the beginning of 2023 or the end of 2022, I can't even remember whenever it was that I think it was the end of 2022. It was like October, November, maybe even September. I can't remember. It was over here. It was definitely before we had the low. We've been targeting $500,000 ever since we had this low, right? Ever since then, we've been targeting $500,000. That's been the plan for years. And as time has gone on, the only thing that's changed is that we're not expecting it to happen by the end of 2025. We're expecting it to happen in the beginning part of 2026. Some people, and I told myself that I would not change my time frame. That no matter what happened this cycle, no matter how bullish it was, I would not change my time frame. But the thing is, we are changing the time frame, but not for the reasons of euphoria, for the reasons of constructiveness. This cycle has been more constructive. We've seen more long-term consolidation phases than we've seen any other cycle. We've got 3 of them. We are moving up rather methodically, more methodically and more controlled and tamed than we ever have any other cycle. When I started learning technical analysis, I was taught that this kind of structure is exactly what you want to see if a cycle is to persist for a longer amount of time and not just blow off in a short amount of time. You do stuff like this, that's the end, right? You do stuff like this, that's the end. It's going to be a shorter amount of time. Stuff like this, shorter amount of time. When you have this methodical movements, which we just haven't had any other cycle, it persists longer. It's healthier growth. And in this institutionally invested cycle, it just makes sense. By the way, the institutions are not new this cycle. To this magnitude, yes, but they've been involved since 2015, 2014. They've been involved for, like, JP Morgan, 4 out of 5 of the biggest banks in the world have been involved with crypto, with Bitcoin specifically, since at least 2015. At least then, right? When they start to talk about it, whenever they start to talk about it in the public eye, which has only been this cycle, understand that they've been accumulating it for years. They accumulated for years before they actually start talking about it. They don't talk about it and then start accumulating. They accumulate and then they start talking about it. That's how they do things, right? Weekly RSI is getting overbought. Things look great. Daily RSI looks phenomenal, fantastic. Looking at the 4-hour time frame here, zooming down, we're coming down a little bit, right? Cooling off, whatever. I expect that we'll bounce here probably off this overbought zone. We're consolidating. We're not doing anything wrong. I wonder if we put on more shorts at this little move down. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, a little bit more. Just a little bit more. No extra longs added there. What about on the 1-hour time frame? What are we doing? So the 1 hour here, I had a little bit of hopes that we'd move up, but it looks like we'll probably consolidate. And I think, again, over the weekend, it's getting to be, right, it's Saturday today. Saturday, Sunday, the weekends are boring typically. And I think over the weekend being boring, being a little volatile, but just kind of boring and moving slightly down, what we might do here, a red weekend, call me superstitious for Bitcoin, but a red weekend is good for a bullish week. Red weekend equals green week. It doesn't mean we have to see a red weekend. We could see a green weekend. It's fine. And we still get a green week afterwards. We're going to be moving up in a very short amount of time, my friends. But I wouldn't be surprised if we consolidated. We look at this 1 hour time frame and it's kind of telling us the details, right? You've got this uptrend, you've got these higher lows and higher highs here, and you started to break out, right? Uptrends in the RSI, if you've been following the channel for a little bit, you know that we see our uptrends in the RSI go from uptrends to sideways trends, and then they turn into downtrends, right? That's what's probably going to happen here. You're at the base area of what could be a downtrend, maybe. You might come up, find resistance at this overbought zone. If you were to do that on the 1 hour, that kind of a movement might take you to a slightly higher high. If I'm correct, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but if I'm correct, one of two things is going to happen. Either we're just going to continue moving down, which is fine, continue to move down, and then maybe we move up, we reject that overbought zone, whatever, we continue to move down over the weekend. Or we might see a slightly higher high. You'll see less volume. There will be less volume on this high, and that's how you know that it's a relative double top. And we will consolidate over the weekend. And I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw prices. Here we are at 117K now. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw prices that were back down at about 115K or even as low as 113K. But I doubt we get below 113K. Or if we do, not by much. Not by much. The lower we go over the weekend, the more we're going to snap back over the week, okay? There's less volume on the weekends. It's easier to move the price, so don't trust it, okay? If we move down over the weekend, understand it's an opportunity to buy the dip. It's not an opportunity to short. It's definitely not an opportunity to let go. You need to buy the dip, okay? I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. The 1 hour is the only time frame that looks momentarily bearish, but at the same time, look at this. You got lower lows right here. You're at the 50. The 50 has been very kind to the RSI, getting us into the overbought zone. Lower lows here in the RSI, higher lows in the price. That is hidden bullish divergence. I wouldn't be too surprised if we did see some kind of like a double top, slightly higher high, maybe a slightly lower high, something like that, and then we roll over. You'll know that you're going to roll over. You'll know that it won't persist higher, that we're not going to go dramatically like up to like 121K if there's less volume, right? Or maybe, I mean, maybe things get crazy and we just wick all the way up to 121K and then close down. I mean, maybe that happens, but I don't see that happening. I think 120K and beyond is reserved for next week. It's going to be a good time next week. It's going to be a good month for the rest of the month and going into August. The next 6 weeks are going to be very exciting, my friends. I got nothing else for you, okay? Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Take care of yourselves. Buy the dip and hold on. Don't try to play this game. Just buy and hold. We are in too easy of times right now to play this game where you're trying to maximize your gains. Your gains will be maximized if you don't try to maximize them, as counterintuitive as it sounds. The way you lose money in this game is you try to make it as fast as possible. That's how you lose it. You want to make money, you try to make it slowly. Let it come to you. Let it do its work. Okay? You made your bed, lay in it and relax. And then you can buy a bed on a beach somewhere. I don't know. Take care. Or if you don't like beaches, then maybe in the mountains, in a nice wintry area, I don't know, where it's cool and not sunny and sandy. I don't know. And if everybody has their own little, maybe in a meadow somewhere, it could be in a woodland area. I don't know. I'm thinking about all the kinds of things. You know, I like mountains myself personally. I think the mountains are pretty cool. Beaches are great. I feel at home when I'm in the ocean. I don't know about everybody, but if you've never been to the ocean before, you got to get out there, man. I love the mountains, but there's something magical just about being out in the water. Like, oh man. Like, I could be out in the water surfing all damn day. I've only surfed like once in my life. Literally just one time. Well, I've surfed in various places actually, like in like a lake behind a boat, but I've only done ocean surfing once in my life, and I guess technically twice in my life. I was out there both days, all day. I couldn't get enough of it, man. I went shirtless the first day, got the calluses. I had to put on a shirt. I got it, you know, and I wasn't good at it. I'm still probably not good at it, but man, there's just something magical about the water. It's if you've never been to the ocean, get out there, man. Get out there. I think there's just something that's very grounding about it, right? Touch sand. I don't know why that's here at the end of the video, but I'm in a mood, I guess. We're all about to go on vacation. That's why, right? We're about to have some extra funds to go on vacation. And you won't have funds if you're sitting out. You won't have funds if you try to sell the high and buy the low. Maybe you can do that. Maybe you're good at that. And if you're a trader, you're listening to this part and you're like, that's not for me. But you know. But if you're new to the markets, this is your first cycle, maybe even your second cycle, just don't do it, right? If this is your second cycle, I'm going to make a guess about you right now. Guess is that you traded a lot in your first cycle, and how'd that work out for you? Probably didn't work out well. Second cycle, let it do its work for you. Don't do anything, right? And just see how much better it is and how much less stress it is. It's really easy. It's easier said than done, though. You think it'd be easy, just sitting on your hands and doing nothing. But it's actually really hard because you are your own worst enemy in this game. But man, I could ramble on about my opinions on how to handle the crypto markets all damn day, but I'm just going to end the video there. So hit the like button, subscribe one last time. Thank you all. Bitcoin's not stopping until we're at 180K, and sure, we might stop, we might pull back like $2,000, but who cares? We're worth $100. What's $2,000 on a $117,000 asset? All right, take care. Bye-bye.